Hey, we are here on the line with Mr. Kyle Hald. Kyle was selected in the 18th round of the 2011 MLB draft by the St. Louis Cardinals. He was a starting pitcher during his 5-year career. Along the way, Kyle advanced all the way to the AAA Memphis Redbirds in the Pacific Coast League. Some of his stats include 37 wins, a 3.90 ERA, and 447 career strikeouts. Kyle, thanks for joining us, buddy. How you doing?
Doing good, man. No problem. Nice to talk to you guys.
I'm a high school baseball coach for the past several years, and I truly love the game at that level. I find that there's so many kids that, there's 2-3 superstars maybe on a team. There's that one kid in the area that's got a Division I scholarship or something like that. But there's so many kids just grinding, getting after it every day. I was hoping you could take me and Dan back, and even our listeners back to some of your high school days. And, what positions did you play? Obviously, Dan brought up that you were a pitcher, but, what other positions did you play in high school? And, did you make the varsity team as a sophomore, as a freshman? And how did you feel when you got that call to finally put on that varsity uniform and play for your high school?
Definitely. Yeah, I actually went to 2 high schools. So my first 2 years, I was at Hayfield Secondary School in Northern Virginia. I didn't make varsity until my junior year, end of my sophomore year when they made the regionals or district and all that. I just had to call up and sit my butt on the bench. But no, junior year was where I started on the varsity squad, and then was the new school, the South County Secondary School. Back then, my freshman and sophomore year, I was probably 4 foot nothing, weighed nothing, probably threw 70 miles an hour, But I really liked the outfield. So I played right field. I wasn't one. They didn't put me on right field just because I wasn't that good. But
did you have a good arm? You always had a good arm? Is that why you were in right field?
It developed, but I always growing up had a decent arm, but not until my junior year where I hit my growth spurt, and I got stronger in the weight room and all that, and that's when my arm really developed.
So through high school, do you believe that the weight room? Me and Dan were talking our first podcast about when we were in school, the bigger, faster, stronger era of things. Do you really think that helped get your velocity up and your power and your strength?
You know what? Back in that day, we really didn't use the weight room, which is
Okay.
really surprising now. Where you see it these days, it's you guys have a program, you have a set schedule, off season,
Right.
during season, all that.
What made you decide to go to Old Dominion? Was that something where you scouted? Were there other colleges you wanted to go to, and was it a tough decision for you?
Growing up in high school, when they had the college baseball games on PS2 back then. I used to play for Rice and UNC. I always wanted to go to those type of schools, but never had anything. I had a couple small D3 schools that were looking at me. And then I got a phone call from Old Dominion. They had a tournament going on, a showcase tournament, and they invited me down there. So they took me around the campus, showed me all that. I participated in the tournament. And then when I got home, once we left, they called me up and said, hey, we want to offer you, you want to do this. And so I accepted. I really didn't have Richmond was the only other D1 school that showed interest. And funny story, they even called me that night as well because I think they were going to make an offer. But I
Wow.
already accepted.
You waited all that time and you got two offers in one day.
Wow.
Exactly.
What did you end up studying at Old Dominion? What was your major?
Oh, the easiest one ever, sports management.
There you go. I was wondering.
So, what about your time in college? Like, what were the high points with college baseball? Like, what was the hardest transition going from high school to college? Was it the workouts? Was it keeping the grades up? Was it what part of it was the high points? And what was the hardest for you?
It's definitely the transition was definitely the balance between schoolwork and baseball.
Right.
Because we're on the field, we have workouts, and then we got to do, studies, and we have study hall as well. We had to go a certain amount of hours per week. So you have a lot of time management. It's a big thing that you got to learn quickly. And you have morning workouts, and you got to go to class, and you got to go back to the field for workouts, and it's a lot of time management.
How important do you think something like that for high school students now, if they got a kind of a peek into that in high school, do you think that would help them so that they're ready for having morning practice? Because I know I had some morning practices when I was in high school, and getting into the weight room at 6 a.m. and I feel like if you didn't do that in high school, it would probably be really, really horrible when you're switching to college all of a sudden. But how important do you think that is to have that early?
Oh, it's huge, and I was lucky to have it in my junior and senior year. We had morning workouts, so you had to do the morning workout 5:30 in the morning, go to the high school, do your workout, go home, get ready to come back to school, and then go back home after school to go to practice. But it was good to do that then, so we kind of transitioned to college where
let's move on to the time when you got the call. Growing up playing baseball, that call has to be something special. You're drafted in the 18th round. Let us know about that call. How did you feel? Like, take us through it. And because
where were you?
I probably would have shit my pants. I don't know.
Yeah, it would have been crazy.
I'll tell you the full story. Don't worry.
Okay.
So actually, my parents and I and my uncle, we went up to LBI. Growing up, we used to go there every summer as a vacation. So we were on the beach.
Hold on, for anybody that doesn't know, what is LBI?
Long Beach Island. That's in northern Jersey.
Gotcha.
Come on, Dan, get it together.
Listen,
man.
I asked for everyone else and myself.
But yeah, so we were on the beach, watching our tracker. It was getting later, so we, decided to go home, to the hotel, shower up, and we were going to go to dinner. So we had the computer on the bed. I think I just got out of the shower. We're just looking, 16th round, 17th round. We're just all looking. And by the 18th round, I see my name pop up. Actually, my mom shouted something. I don't even remember what she said. But she saw the name, and we just started, get crazy, get loud. I guess people next door were kind of wondering what was going on. But you got champagne, some adult sodas. But no, it was good.
And for folks who don't know, the Major League Draft is like 30-some rounds deep. So to go in the 18th round is not like
back then it was up to 50. Back then.
I was about to say. So still, even to be picked that high, and for most people, they don't realize that a lot of guys get drafted like out of high school and they never accept a contract. They go off on to college. So to be selected still that far up is such a tremendous. This isn't the NFL draft where there's 6 rounds and 3 days of hype. The Major League Draft is kind of done in the quiet. Now we have MLB Network that kind of gets a little excitement about it. But man, I can't imagine how your parents felt, how you felt, all those years of sweat and dirt and baseball pants and traveling from game to game, and you get that. That's so exciting and amazing to hear.
No, it was amazing. I give them all the credit for all what they went through with me growing up. All the travel, the money, all that stuff. It's amazing what they had to do for me.
So when you got drafted, Kyle, what team were you first assigned to? What level of baseball did the Cardinals put you on when they picked you?
So the scout that drafted me, he called me, I would say about 20 minutes later after I saw my name. And he told me I was going to Johnson City, Tennessee.
There you go.
I was like, where the hell is that at?